G'day YouTube, 49's Fine Silver here. G'day YouTube, 49's Fine Silver here. Today I'm going to do a bit of a tricky one. I'm going to try and make this bird with wings. Now you can use either plaster of Paris or you can use air dry clay. I think the plaster of Paris is probably better to use because it dries a bit quicker. But I'm going to try this air dry clay today just to see how it goes. So what I want to do is I want to get a lump of this stuff, roll it up. I want to stick it, make a shape out of it, and stick it between the bird's wings and then push them back as best I can, trying to get them to fit snugly into that plaster and squeezing it all up to there. So what I'll do is I'll peg that together and wait for it to dry, and once it's dry I'll take this piece of chalk and I'll try and fit it to his legs. Alright, and then I'm going to use silver today to try and pour him. So once this is dry I'll come back and we'll start. Okay guys, see you soon. Alright, I think it's dry. Alright, so once you've got your bird into this position, I've got my plaster in there dried. Now it's time for me to make the legs. So what I do then is I get just a piece of chalk, do a few little marks on it, what I think is the right shape, and then start cutting away. And I just use a little hacksaw blade and also my little file to shape. And then I start fitting the bird into the shape to see how it fits. Coming along pretty well. Still a little bit tight on that foot over there, so we just take a little bit more out. Make sure you've got a nice flat square edge so when it goes into the sand it doesn't catch anything. And place it back. And now that's looking pretty good. Now his legs are a little bit odd shaped still there, so I'll take a little bit more off. And just slowly work on it until you get your piece fitting nicely. Alright, I think we're ready to cast. Alright, so here's our bit of a framework. Put some corn flour on it. Line up our piece. It's right in the spot. Now you've got to try and push it down nice and evenly. Easier said than done, so you don't crack or break anything. Not too bad. Alright, more corn flour. Just hold it in place so you don't upset it. Alright, let's get a frame over it. And try and pack it down fairly evenly throughout. I like to use a rolling pin, and the reason being is because when you pack it down with your fingers, it's not even all over. I want to try and make it as even as possible. Alright, let's have a look. Up gently. Bird, looking good. Now in this side, I'm going to do the sprue. And so I want to go through the thickest part of his body, probably just there. Cut our sprue. Try and make it so it looks like a funnel. Nice and smooth. Come back. And there you go. Alright, we'll put that one aside. Now we'll gently take this out, if we can. Okay, and there it is. Take our pieces out of off the pattern. Back in. Let's take this one apart. Alright, now make sure you get this wings back into the right spot. Very carefully put it into place. Looking good. Top back on. Very gentle roll. All right. Some silver. Let me just get a brick. Okay. I want to make sure I've got enough. I'd hate to do it and run out. All right, gas on. I saw a couple of bubbles I wasn't very pleased about. Never mind, that shows that there was a tiny bit of moisture still on those wings. Let's have a look. This side looks pretty good. Alright. Might take that one out in a minute. I don't think I'll be able to save that anyway. I'll just put it in the water. And it looks pretty good. Might have to try and pick this out slowly. Still a little bit hot. Here we go. Just pick that out. I don't want to drop it into my sand. All right. let me clean him up for a second. I'll turn the camera back on. Alright, he's not overly ideal. Let's cut off the sprue. Sometimes it's easier to bend that out of the way. We'll cut that bit off first. Alright, and while it's still warm, it's a little bit softer. A little bit. You can try and open up those wings. I might need a pliers.
These ones will do. Just gently open up those wings.
I'm not overly happy, so I'm going to melt him again. But you can get the gist. Make sure you allow your plaster or clay pieces to dry 100%, because if you don't, you get a little bit of bubbling, puts a little hole in it, and that's the finish. So what I'll do is I'll clean this up as best I can so I can give you at least a rough look, and then I'll chuck it back into the scrap box and we'll play another day. So hang on a minute. Alright guys, here he is. Not ideal. I'm not as happy as I could be at all, and that's my fault for having moisture in the plaster. So make sure guys that if you try this, you give it at least a week, maybe longer. And the problem is when you make it, you've only got one shot, so rather than wait another week to show you this video, I thought I'd show you this video as a way that you can try it, but you might get some success out of it if you wait for it to dry. Now you can see where what happens when the moisture's in it. It starts to bubble, it gets little holes, half it doesn't pour, but you can see the details in the feathers have worked out very well. It's just that little bit of back where it got that bubble in it, which was a shame. So yeah, never mind, you win some, you lose some. That's just part of the way pouring silver is. So guys, thank you very much for hanging around. Let's pray for some better success for the next one. Okay guys, catch you on the next one. So that's it from me. So don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.